This is the WWE Smackdown January 3, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. American Nightmare Cody Rhodes makes his entrance and gets on the mic and talks about SmackDown going to 3 hours tonight and Raw going to Netflix starting Monday, and his excitement is tempered ever so slightly because as much as he'd like to be involved, he can only be involved so much because technically he's not cleared to wrestle, and he's not cleared to wrestle because of Kevin Owens. He talks about his scheduled ladder match against Kevin Owens, and Drew McIntyre interrupts him. He gets in the ring and wordlessly hugs his former Dashing One's teammate before getting on the mic as a "okay sure" expression crosses Cody's face. Drew begins, saying he's not here to hurt Rhodes, he's here to help him, he's not on his list and they go way back and he needs to tell him because nobody else will, he's about to screw up his entire life's work. Everything he's done, all the dues he's paid, climbing to the center, right now is the best in-ring wrestling they've ever had, and if you look at the numbers, the best overall by far, and Cody is the quarterback of it all. But Nick Aldis is breathing down his neck, refusing to clear him. There's a guy running around with a replica title like these idiots in the crowd, pretending he's a world champion and being billed as much at live events. All while Cody's neck dangles by a thread and he can see that he needs a friend, and Rhodes recapitulates his help, not hurt thesis. McIntyre says he always tells the truth and Cody says he'll tell him the truth back. He'd love to say he saw Drew carry the place while he was gone, he'd love to say that they were kindred spirits, he'd love to see that he's grown to be a beast in the ring and on the mic, he'd love to say that, but he doesn't believe McIntyre. And he feels the tension and he can feel that it'll devolve, so if Drew wants to throw hands right now, come and get it. McIntyre says he'll see the truth one day and leaves, telling him to watch his back, and Kevin Owens attacks Cody Rhodes from behind. Referees and road agents and security arrive and pull them apart and give Rhodes a chance to recover. Then we saw a match between Andrade El Idolo versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE United States Championship, and the result of this match was Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Andrade El Idolo by pinfall with Kinshasa, retaining the WWE United States Championship. Post-match, LA Knight runs in and drops Nakamura with a lariat, grounded punches, BFD denied, and Shinsuke runs away, title in hand. LA grabs a mic and says yeah a bunch before saying things go crazy when you steal his title, and one way or another he's coming to collect because what comes around goes around, and he's gonna stomp his ass to dust every time he turns around. Apollo Crews is walking backstage and looking at his phone when Pretty Deadly roll up to threaten him for snitching last week. Crews says everybody knew they were lying last week, fingering Los Garza, and Legado del Fantasma rolls up. Santos Escobar tells them if they're gonna lie it should be to their face. Pretty Deadly beg off, and Escobar says they're ridiculous if they think they're not gonna cop an ass beating for all this. Los Garza attack, Nick Aldis and referees appear to pull them apart. Pretty Deadly call for them to be reprimanded, but Nick asks them to stay and chat as we go to break. Back from the commercial, Nick Aldis is talking to Pretty Deadly trying to get to the bottom of things when DIY roll up to ask why he's listening to Apollo Stooge. Aldis says he knows what's going on and everyone is on very thin ice. DIY talk up Pretty Deadly and basically offer to trade them a title shot if they make sure DIY leave tonight as champions. The next match happened between Mia Yim versus Piper Niven, and the result of this match was Mia Yim defeated Piper Niven by pinfall with Eat Defeat finisher. Paul Heyman makes his entrance and gets on the mic, and he does his usual introductory spiel and says he wanted to come out here to set the record straight. On Monday we're gonna find out who the real tribal chief is, and he talks about how he and Roman Reigns prepared for the day that Roman would be ready to willingly step down as tribal chief and Solo Sikoa would reign, but at WrestleMania what happened? After 10 years of lusting for revenge against Seth Rollins, Reigns couldn't turn down the opportunity for revenge, and Cody Rhodes, to his massive credit, took advantage of that blind spot for the 1-2-3 on Roman, and that is where Solo seized the moment and stole the garland from Roman's bag. He got rid of Jimmy Uso and the Wiseman because he knew they wouldn't go along with it, and he got himself an ersatz bloodline of unstable and ne'er-do-wells, and on Monday to acknowledge him because nobody else would. Monday, live on Netflix, no rules except there must be a winner and there must be a loser, the winner, and he promises us, our tribal chief, the only tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa's music hits and Heyman eyes him warily as he walks down to the ring before addressing, saying he's about 10 seconds away from pissing his pants, because the last time they did this, Sikoa had him put through a table in front of his children, and if he even blinks at him wrong he knows the same damn thing will happen to him again tonight. Solo holds his hand out for the microphone and Paul hesitantly places it in his hand before putting his hands up in a gesture of peace and taking a step back. Sikoa demands the crowd acknowledge him and that it's time for Heyman to acknowledge the truth. He owes CM Punk a favor, right? Heyman nods yes, and Solo says he wants to owe him a favor and he needs someone trustworthy to hold the garland of the tribal chief. Someone who respects his family and who would never disrespect them or the garland itself. So on Monday, if Roman wins, Paul will put the garland around his neck, and he will acknowledge Reigns as tribal chief. But if he beats Roman, and Heyman will put the garland around his neck, be his wiseman forever, and Reigns will have no choice but to acknowledge him. The next match happened between DIY vs Motor City Machine Guns for the WWE Tag Team Championship, and the match goes to a no contest because when Sabin takes Tom down into an STF, but Los Garza chase pretty deadly back into the ring and DIY somehow retains the tag titles. Nia Jax is warming up backstage complaining to Candice LeRae that Tiffany Stratton is nowhere to be found. LeRae says Tiffany is probably upset about what Jax said last week and she's so sensitive, but hey, she's here. Jax says she's gonna try and get them another tag title shot and she just needs Candice to keep Bianca Belair away, and LeRae says she'll do anything Nia needs. Carmelo Hayes runs into Sami Zayn and says he would have won if it weren't for those pesky kids and their monster among men. Zayn says he just saw Hayes running away and the Usos roll up and Hayes thinks they're on his side, but they step over, back Sami up, and Zayn asks why Melo's suddenly so much less boisterous before going off to get ready for their match. Jey Uso literally runs into Kevin Owens, who tells him he needs to watch his back. Cody Rhodes is walking backstage when Nick Aldis flags him down and asks if he's okay, and Cody says he's fine, and Nick says he talked him into this ladder match and now he seems hell-bent on not making it to the Royal Rumble. He asks Rhodes to think about his future and the future of the company, and if he won't then he has to, and Cody says Nick is actually a good boss, but he's the champion, and this is the most important week in WWE history. As much as Aldis has the right to put him on the shelf or ask him to do all the press in the world, he has the right to call his shot, and he should go remind Kevin Owens that he has his attention and remind him of what happens when people have his attention, and now, if he sees KO, or someone that looks like KO, he's gonna drop them on sight. The next match happened between Naomi vs Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. The match ended in a way when Candice LeRae runs interference, Nia gets away and takes Bianca Belair out on the floor, back in, up top, Naomi counters and both women are down. Tiffany Stratton comes with the referee and she's gonna cash in, but she sees Naomi getting up and shoves Tran over the barricade and hits Naomi with the case, and Nia Jax hits Banzai Drop and wins the match by pinfall, retaining the WWE Women's Championship. Post-match, Stratton attacks Jax and LeRae. Belair gets under Jax and hits the KOD on her. Tiffany pulls Bianca out of the ring, and this time she cashed in and won the match by pinfall with the prettiest moonsault ever, becoming your new WWE Women's Champion. Solo Sikoa's all-new, all-different bloodline are walking backstage, and Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu cuts a promo acknowledging his tribal chief. Then Byron Saxton interviews LA Knight and says he was talking to Nick Aldis and explained why he attacked Shinsuke Nakamura, and it basically adds up to Shinsuke did the same and won the title out of it, and so he got his rematch for next week. From there, he's gonna win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between all-new, all-different Bloodline versus original Bloodline. The match ended in a way when Drew McIntyre comes for interference, but Jey hits a suicide dive on him, and Fatu gives tag to Solo, but Jey didn't know that, and Solo hits a Samoan spike to Jey, and all-new, all-different Bloodline wins the match by pinfall. Commentary hypes up the Raw debut on Netflix, and the first episode of 2025 Smackdown goes off the air.